just watched the 2-hour-long Putin interview. So here's a summary of what happened. The interview starts by Tucker asking why did he invade Ukraine? Did he feel threatened from the United States? To which he somewhat ironically replied, let me take 30 seconds to reference some historical background. He then went on to talk for over 30 minutes about Russian history. Carlson tried to interrupt him a few times, thinking that it may be a tactic, to which Putin explicitly expressed that he became irritated by his numerous interruptions. Good start. But essentially, through a long, drawn-out process, Putin believes that Ukraine belongs to Russia, citing the creation of the USSR as the point of establishment of Ukraine. This then prompted Tucker to push Putin on, well, if that's the case, why has he not made a move into Ukraine until 2022? He then gives a number of reasons, one being NATO expansion towards Russian borders 5 times, and that Zelensky became president. He says that he won't go into the details, but claims, as he's done before, that Zelensky has ties to Nazis, and that he couldn't tolerate having Nazis on the Russian border. He then claims that Zelensky and the Ukrainian officials have a sworn-upon decree to never negotiate with Russia. And then Putin continued by claiming that the war would immediately stop if they were able to negotiate. One person I didn't expect to get name-dropped in this was Boris Johnson, because Putin claimed that if it wasn't for him, the war would have already ended 18 months ago. He said that Russia and Ukraine were ready to sign a deal to end the war, which, as a side note, is kind of the opposite of what he said before about Ukraine not negotiating. Anyway, he said that Boris Johnson dissuaded the leader of Ukraine's party from signing, saying that it was better to fight Russia. Johnson has refuted this, saying that it was absolute Russian propaganda. Putin also said that Russia was once close to joining NATO after US President at the time, Bill Clinton, offered the country a place. But that when Clinton went back and spoke to his team, they overruled his decision. He said that he does not want nuclear war with the West because it doesn't make sense, but that the Western media runs a fear campaign to scare their citizens for an elaborate tax scam. Tucker then asks him who he thinks blew up Nord Stream, which is not only the largest act of industrial terrorism ever, but also the largest emission of CO2 in history. Putin then answers that by accusing the CIA. He says that you should not only look at who has an interest, but also who has the capability to go down to the depths of the Baltic Sea and pull off that kind of explosion. Tucker then pushes back, saying that, well, if you have the evidence for this, why wouldn't you present it to the world for at least a propaganda win? To which Putin basically replies that in a war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States, and that if they did provide the evidence, it wouldn't achieve results, whatever that means. He said that invading Poland or Latvia is out of the question, that Russia simply don't have any interest in expanding the war in Ukraine, and that such a conflict would bring all humanity to the brink of destruction. Towards the end of the interview, he then asked Putin if he will release the US journalist that is imprisoned in Russia. Putin then goes on to claim that the 33-year-old named Evan was not just a journalist, but a spy that committed espionage, and while they will probably come to a solution that's a win for both sides, they are not ready to do so yet. And that's pretty much it. Go watch the full interview if you want to get the nuance that can't be captured here. And of course, let me know what you guys think of all of this in the comments.